Hi, my name is Lindiwe Mazibugo, and this is Africa Connect, where African voices tell African stories. So I entered politics straight out of university when I finished postgrad at the University of Cape Town. And I entered politics because I had a sense that the political parties that we had on offer were not offering enough hope, enough inspiration, and enough for young South Africans to support them. They were very much trapped in the old idea of racial-based politics, black parties, white parties, Asian parties, and so on. And so I felt that there was a room for a political party to be multiracial, for men and women, for people of all backgrounds, and which had a vision of a South Africa which has thrown off the yoke of its past and can move forward into a prosperous future that everyone can participate in. And I became convinced that the official opposition, the Democratic Alliance, was the right vehicle for that. So when I graduated from university, I applied for a post as a researcher in their parliamentary operation. And from there, one thing led to the next. And before I knew it, I was running for office as a member of parliament. And 8 years later, here I am today.
It took a lot of, to be as a woman, it took a lot of courage and guts for you to just say, okay, I want to run for an office. So how did how did the men in South Africa receive you as in being in a political arena?
So I first ran for the post of leader of the opposition in 2011. I was 31. And we were just coming off the back of a very, very successful local government election campaign in which I had been the lead party spokesperson. I'd done all the television debates, I had been on the election posters, and I basically, with the party leadership, had been at the forefront of the campaign. And I felt that the time had come for the party to elect a young leader, somebody who represented the average South African, who is 24 years old. That's the average age in my country. Somebody who could speak to the new voters who were entering the electorate for the first time, who had never lived under apartheid and who had a different idea of what South Africa should be. And the response from a lot of men was, Parliament is not ready for a 31-year-old leader of the opposition. You shouldn't do it, you should wait until you're older and you have more gravitas.
Experience.
And you have more experience, and I've always been a very impatient person, and that wasn't a good enough explanation for me. If they'd said you're incompetent, you can't do the job, that would have been fine, but the word was, you're great, you've done a fantastic job on this.
But you're young.
But just wait while the grown-ups do all the work. And that just made me decide that in fact this was the right time and it was the right thing to do. So yes, I had many detractors, but the thing about detractors is they give you more resolve to prove them wrong, to prove that we have to live in a society where men and women have got a role, where men and women can be in government, can be in power, can speak for each other, and can speak for the marginalized. So I pressed on regardless.
How are you, Faduma?
I'm fine, thank you.
I will say to you that your story is so, I won't say compelling. So many people say when you hear people's story, it's like, my story is not unique, but I know what I felt. I know what my story meant to me. But your story today made me believe that every girl in Africa that hears your story, that have seen you speak, should have hope that tomorrow the power of education can change anything.
My message to the African child is to say that you are a beautiful child. You live in a very wonderful continent. The future is in Africa and the future is in you. No one can take that away from you. I want to say to the African children, there will be a better time. Better times are ahead. What we do as parents, as elders for you, we do it so that you will have a bright future. You might not understand at this point of time why all these things are happening. Some of them are things that we ourselves can't understand. But the future is bright, the continent is yours, and we hope you will do better than we did for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You're amazing. You're amazing. We all look up to. Her name is Aisha Babangida. Aisha, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hearing your story today and what your work and what you do today have made me realize that there are so many of us who are just still trying to even get there to do what you do. And I want to know, why do you fight so much for women?
Well, I think I'm a woman. That's first and foremost. And I use the essence of trying to appreciate each other and trying to love each other, trying to nurture each other is very important to me. So I think if I can be a rallying factor for us to speak with one voice, I think we'll get there.
When you look at, I know you're from Nigeria as well, and you're from the northern part of Nigeria. When you look at I'm going to talk about the Chibok girl stories. When you look at the Chibok girl stories, not just the Chibok girl stories. These Chibok girl stories is every African child's stories being sold into slavery, forced early marriage. How do we start educating our parents in Africa?
I think, it's actually interesting that you mentioned that, because every community that we go to, the first thing we have to do is talk to the parents, and especially the fathers, and try to make them understand that this is about them as well. This is about their progress, this is about their development, and this is their child. God gave them that child, that girl child.
Yeah. So what is next for Aisha Babangida? What is next for your agenda now?
A lot of advocacy and a lot of empowerment. Now I have to engage companies to come and set up in communities. Nobody quite understands why that is, but if you look at it financially, for them, the companies, the figures are in the rural communities. So I have to engage them and talk to them that there is hope here. Sunana Aisha Babangida, ina muku fatan alheri kuma kuna kallon Africa Connect. Na gode.